Hey everyone, welcome back to Le Mans Ultimate for what is very much a learning experience. We're in the LMU GT3 at Sebring, a track I've never driven before in any sim. I've tried to learn it with a few offline laps, but it has not been easy. I've only got a couple of hours free today, and this is my first chance to race in a month, so I'm desperate to join an online grid, and as a result, I've decided to jump in at the deep end, learning as I race. Now, I don't want to get in anybody's way, so I've skipped qualifying to start at the back, and from here I can safely follow the cars ahead and hopefully get a better understanding of the track. Who knows, I may even pick up a few positions. Whatever happens though, it is very much sink or swim at Sebring.
Green flag, green flag.
Here we go then, the lights are green and I really don't know what is going to happen in this one. I was one of 3 drivers not to set a qualifying time. As a result, I'm not starting at the very back of the grid. I have been placed ahead of both Thomas Stuber and Arthur Pendino. I've also gained a couple of positions through this first turn, so I thought I was going to be at the very back of the pack. It's not turned out that way so far. P15 for Pendino, having a look up the inside of the BMW. This is going to make things very tight through this section. I'm in the middle, 3 wide. There's surely going to be contact, and there is. And I've still got Soren Sashen split to my right. I was desperately trying to leave both drivers space. Oh, McLaren facing the wrong way right in front of me. Then I had to take evasive action. Another car rejoining from the left. I had to swerve to get past them, knowing that Sashen split was on my right. Thankfully, there was no more contact. I am going to come under attack, though, into this sharp right-hander. There's Thomas Stuber in the BMW on my inside. Now, I may be able to hold on to this if I hang it out wide and carry my momentum. It doesn't look like it, though. Stuber gets half a car length advantage, and I do just lift to tuck back in behind the BMW. I've got to remember that this race is about learning the track. It's going to be so easy to get sucked into a fight. And that was a mistake from Sashen split. Sashen split losing the rear of that Aston Martin, so that is another position gained. I'm up into P14, but I almost throw it all away in an instant there with a big mistake on the brakes. I had no choice but to take it out wide, so I didn't run into the back of Thomas Stuber's BMW. And that has now put me under more pressure from the yellow Ford Mustang behind of Nico Lapiernever. Oh, and that's another big mistake on the brakes. The second corner in quick succession that I've completely missed the apex. That has cost me a position. Lapiernever diving through. So yeah, my lack of track familiarity was strikingly clear there. A couple of big mistakes. I've just got to calm down a little bit. The time for pushing will be when I'm a little bit more familiar with the track. For now, I've just got to concentrate on learning and avoiding wrecks like this one. We're watching a replay of the opening lap, and there's repeated contact between Zamparese in that silver McLaren and Ruben Roig in the Ferrari. Now, it's Ease who ends up coming off worst. Thankfully, most of the pack missing, except for the BMW of Arthur Pendino. That hit did real damage. Let's watch it one more time from the onboard of Maxime Simango. Now you can see my orange McLaren getting squeezed in the middle as we went 3 wide through that section. That was worrying enough. This was even more worrying though. I'm desperately trying to avoid contact with cars either side of me, and then suddenly we've all got to swerve to try and avoid Ease. Everybody gets through except for Pendino. And then a few corners later, we lost Soren Sashen split, losing the rear of the Aston Martin and sliding into the tyre wall. After that, the mistakes were all my own doing. And this was the moment I completely missed my braking point to let Nico Lapiernever through. So yeah, I need fewer mistakes like that over the coming laps. Instead, I've got to tuck back in behind this pack, concentrate on finding a rhythm, getting used to the track, finding the right lines. And then hopefully if I get all of that right, I'll start seeing my pace improve and I'll start being able to compete safely. At the moment, I don't feel like I can. However, I am closing in on the Lamborghini of Daniel Pataki. Pataki must have come to grief somewhere. He started P7 on the grid. So he's lost 7 positions on that opening lap. He's down into P14. I'm 0.5 of a second behind in P15. Oh, it looks like he took a bit too much of the curb on the inside there. That gives me the opportunity to nip up the inside and take the position. Well, I know I said I wanted to tuck in behind these cars and learn from them, but I couldn't turn down an opportunity like that. And sure enough, Pataki did come to grief at turn 17, the very last corner of the lap before we start this charge down the start-finish straight. He just exits the corner a bit too wide and hits the wall. Now, I wonder if that contact caused him some damage, because he certainly didn't cope well with that curb there, did he? But for me, it was a gift wrap P14. I make the move and gain a position. Right, lap 3 then. I'm still in P14, but I've not been able to gap Pataki behind. He's still within 1 second. However, I am reeling in this pack in front now. There are 4 cars separated by less than 2 seconds. That is 13th to 10th. I've got a top 10 within my sights here. We're at quarter race distance now. I am starting to feel a little bit more comfortable having done a few laps. And in front, it looks like Lapiernever is having a look up the inside of Stuber's BMW. Now, this might be an opportunity for me because the gap was left wide open there. I was able to apex a little bit later and nip up the inside, getting extra power on exit to get past Stuber. So that puts me up into P13. And yeah, I'm beginning to build confidence now. I'm starting to attack, and as a result, I'm just 1.3 seconds off the top 10 now. Christian Jurovic currently holding that 10th position. And right behind him is Andy Riddell in 11th and Nico Lapiernever in 12th. All 3 of them in Ford Mustangs. Well, while I'm looking at what's in front of me, I can't forget what's behind me either, because both Stuber and Pataki are within 1 second. So as close as I am to the top 10, I'm equally close to dropping back down into P15. Lapiernever now beginning to put Ronald under a bit of pressure. Meanwhile, Jurovic is going into pit lane. Did Jurovic have a drive-through penalty to serve? I didn't see that he had one, but Jurovic into the pits, so that is me up into P12. Right, let's take a quick breather from the live action to take another look at that overtake past Thomas Stuber. Now, there was a gaping hole thanks to Lapiernever making that move. Stuber was forced offline, and it was a golden opportunity for me to nip up the inside and take the position. So yeah, I'm making really good progress here. Far more progress than I expected to make when the lights went green. But at 1/3 race distance, I find myself in 12th position and on the fringes of the top 10. Through this tricky turn 17 then, I've got absolutely no idea what the best line is through here. I'm struggling to find markers. It's really bumpy too. I'm struggling to control the car through there, but for now, I'm right on the tail of Lapiernever. And in fact, I have to move over to the left just a little bit to try and get my bearings. I was in real danger there of missing another braking point. And that allows Stuber behind to close in. Stricken Ferrari to the right. We get past him. Look at Stuber. He's going to send it up the inside into this left-hander. Oh, I thought I'd left Stuber more than enough space there, but he clattered into me, pushes me out onto the grass. All that good work over the previous couple of laps undone. Well, when I got past that spun Ferrari of Ruben Roig, I was temporarily up into P11. Now I find myself back down into P13. Well, this all started when the battle for P3 got physical. Ruben Roig in the Ferrari having a look up the inside of Dejan Kay in the BMW. He just tags the rear of the Beamer and they both spin out. Now Kay is going to try and rejoin quickly here, but he just can't do it on that slippery Sebring grass. And by the time we get past it, it's getting really tight out there. Oh look, and there's a coming together between Daniel Pataki and Thomas Stuber, so that explains why I got taken out there. Well, I thought I was leaving space for Stuber on my inside. I had no idea that he was out onto the grass. This onboard view from Maxime Samango shows that there was absolutely nothing I could have done to avoid that one. And ultimately, it's only cost me a couple of positions, but it remains to be seen if I picked up damage here. It was a pretty hefty hit as I got sideswiped out onto the grass. Hopefully, the car still handles all right. We're back to the live action now. It's feeling okay so far. Certainly showing some damage has been picked up on the HUD, bottom right of the screen, but at the moment, I'm not noticing any lack of handling or stability. So I think we're okay, although we will be under pressure from Samango behind. Maxim just half a second behind now. However, after that, there is a big gap to the driver in P15 section split. So even if Samango does get past me, I'm looking pretty comfortable for a top 15 finish here. Oh, Daniel Pataki in trouble. Is he going to save that one? No, he is not. Well, as soon as I saw that rear start to step out, I just lifted a little bit. I wondered whether Pataki may be able to rescue it, but his Lamborghini had other ideas. Pataki spins out, and that's me back up into P12. And it wouldn't take long at all for it to get even better for me. Currently running in 12th, but look ahead as we approach turn 17. Roig is pulling up. Ruben Roig in that Ferrari heading off down the slip road. Now he's either picked up damage in that instant a lap ago or he's run out of fuel. And speaking of running out of fuel, we'll jump forward a lap and look what happens in the rear view mirror. Maxime Simango, he's been applying pressure lap after lap after lap, but he is suddenly going to disappear from view. Simango running out of fuel on this 7th lap. Later on in the lap, and things are looking really good now. A gap of more than 10 seconds back to Pataki in 12th, and look how much smoother I am through this section now, closing right back in on Thomas Stuber. Now, I was really loose through this final section in the early laps, but I'm much more confident through there now, and as a result I have put myself in a position to challenge Stuber for the top 10. He's just 0.5 of a second in front now. And the pair of us are closing in on Bull and Mann. Now, Mann must have run into some difficulty somewhere. He was in P7, he's dropped down to P9. And right in front of him is Lapierre Never. Lapierre Never is still within sight. So yeah, that is P8, 1.5 seconds down the road. I never thought I'd be this far up the grid, having started at the back. Well, we're now at 3/4 race distance, and I find myself well and truly in this fight for the top 10. And Stuber is going for it. He makes a move up the inside into turn 1. The two BMWs are side by side. Now, there's no way for me to get through here, but what I might try and do is use the gap for a second time. Oh, Mann's got other ideas, though. I tried to use the space that Stuber opened up, but it did not work. Meanwhile, it looks like we may have lost one of the Lamborghinis that were in front of us. Yeah, Johan Collin has gone, so even though I haven't got past Mann, I am now into the top 10. Well, can I hold on to it? Colin is more than 4 seconds back, so it's looking pretty good. Can I go even better? Can I get past Mann and up into P9? Well, I give Mann a bit of a nudge there. Everything getting just a bit too tight into that turn 7. It looked like Mann may have run into the back of Stuber, and I certainly ran into the back of Mann. Well, so much for sitting back and learning. I feel the time is right now to attack. There are positions up for grabs over these final couple of laps. Can I get into P9? Can I get into P8? Because the pair of them are within 1 second in front of me here. Oh, but maybe I'm pushing just a little bit too hard, because once again I'm late on the brakes. That is going to cost me some valuable time. And yeah, as soon as I start overdriving, the mistakes come back. Well, here's another look at the attempted pass on Mann. Well, I tried to get alongside there using the space left by Stuber, but it did not work. It might have been a bit ambitious, that one, on my part. Meanwhile, this is the position that I did pick up. Johan Collin in the Lamborghini, missing his braking point as well there, and then he comes into contact with Dejan K, trying to get back onto the racing line. So we're at the end of lap 8 then, just 3 minutes left on the clock. I think there's going to be 2 more laps to go, so I'm going to give it everything I've got here to try and get up into P9. Currently, Mann is just 0.5 of a second ahead. Now, he started P12 on the grid with a qualifying time of 2:05.5. I am now lapping at 2:05.4. So I've certainly got the pace to match Bullerman, but have I got the extra couple of tenths needed to get alongside him and past him? Well, I'm going to try my hardest here. Into this tricky section, turns 3, 4 and 5. Oh, and I've taken a bit too much of the curb at turn 4, and I'm not even going to make it to turn 5. I'm spat out into the tyre wall. Well, I said I was going to try my hardest, but I pushed just a little bit too hard there. I do get back on track. I've only lost 1 position. This was a big mistake. All part and parcel of learning a new track, though. You need to make these mistakes to know not to make them again. Well, I already had some front end damage from earlier in the race. Did I just make it even worse with that incident? Well, we're going to get 1 more lap after this. It's 3 seconds to Colin ahead. I'm going to push as hard as I can still to try and keep within distance, just in case there's the possibility of a freebie on this final lap. Oh, but I've gone though. As soon as I turn into the final corner, the car lets go and I slide spectacularly into the wall. I think I saw my rear spoiler fly off there. Yeah, this one is done. I'm not even going to make the finish. How disappointing can you get? Well, honestly, I don't know if it was damage that caused me to lose control entering this corner, or whether I was just pushing a little bit too hard. One thing's for sure, though, there was no way I was taking that car to the checkered flag after that shunt. So here are the classified results then, and even with the DNF, I still find myself finishing in 14th position, so a gain of 5 places without even seeing the checkered flag. And I feel I learnt a lot too. My pace improved as the race went on, and my fastest lap of 2:05.4 was top 6 pace. So overall it was mission accomplished because I now feel far more confident to take on Sebring if I ever get another chance to race it. Which brings me neatly onto the future of the channel in 2025 and beyond. Now, finding the opportunities to race is getting more and more difficult for me lately. You'll have noticed I've not been around for a month, and it's unlikely I'll get much rig time in the coming weeks either. But I've stopped short of closing the channel completely because I'm still hoping to pop up with a race video every now and then, but realistically it'll more likely be one video a month rather than the weekly ones I always used to aim for. If this does end up being my final video, I want to take the opportunity now to thank each and every one of you for your kind comments and support. It's truly meant more to me than you'll ever know. And if this is my last ever YouTube appearance, I guess I've ended CR Sim Racing in the most fitting way possible. Smashing into a barrier, totaling a car and getting a DNF.